Hey guys, hey gals. All right, so I'm just giving it a minute. So I thought I'd play a little music just for a few minutes. I just have to find something. How you doing? All right, so forego the music. Saw some of you guys on Robert Wallace's live stream. Good of you to come over here. I don't know. I guess it just becomes a an alert to go on live. I don't know. Maybe not. But good to see you guys. You know what's really bothering me lately? My eyesight. Man, I wear contacts. I can see far away. When I try to see close, I can't read like the chat without these. But here's the weird thing. If I take my contacts out, I could read the smallest little anything on everything. Does that make sense? That makes no sense to me. So I wear my contacts. I need to have these to see things up close. And this is just in the last year. I take my contacts out and put on my glasses. I take my glasses off, I can read everything perfectly. I don't understand how that's even possible, but that's okay. I'm a peanut brain. How are you guys? Let me put these on so I can read the chat. Jesus. It might be from staring at a screen for the last like 4 or 5 or 6 years straight. That probably didn't help, but yeah, right, Robert Wallace. It's getting bad. Nozawa. Wow. That's funny though. That is funny, dude. I know. I feel like good grandpa Chuck Schumer. Cause that dude's a POS, right? He is. Jeez. It's Grandpa Bill. I do like that. It's funny. All right, so I titled this No Q, No Problem. Let's get into it. So at this point in the storm, the Great Awakening, everything we've been watching, we've been witnessing, if you're on Twitter, which some of you are, you can follow President Trump. And I don't know how much I've said this earlier, maybe not a ton, and pushed it, but really, as it turns out, President Trump's Twitter feed has become, I don't know, it's kind of like it's such a smooth transition that the Q drops are being allowed to kind of, they're having their ride in the sun, maybe. And do I think Q will come back? I do. Yeah. Yeah. I think there's going to be little, at different points in time, there's going to be some drops, but really, everything that's been gearing us up to where we're at right now is that we've been prepared. We've been prepared. And it really does sound like the next phase of the deep state's defenses are going to be to try to prove that people that follow Q and are just wide awake to what's going on. It sounds like they are, however much momentum it gets, are going to try to launch something against this truth movement They still control the television stations for the most part, except Fox News. I think only in time we'll be able to get that all sorted out, with why Fox News gets to say what they say when they say it. But we do know that at least 3 hours of the day and probably a few more, we do get a lot of truths that line up with the Q drops and the truth movement of what's really going on in the draining of the swamp, right? We That's where I get it from, and multiple sources on online journalism. Quite frankly, it's online journalism that is going to have a large responsibility in saving this country. That's what I think. So, no Q, no problem. We've got the president tweeting, filling in all the gaps. Any questions, any problems that we have. We were told this more than a month ago that we are now on offense. We were told this. We discussed this. We are now on offense. First and 10 at the 50, first and 10 at the 40, first and 10 at the 30. There hasn't been any really drops. There's been a few after that first and 10 from the 30, but there hasn't been a whole lot of drops that tell us where we're at in this plan. But we know we are watching the rats jump ship. And we don't even know what's going on behind the scenes, like really behind the scenes. We don't know. We can speculate, and I think most of us would speculate that it's going pretty good in our favor. It's going really, really well for us, the Patriots, if you will. It's going very good. I'm very happy. And it probably should be this way. If Q doesn't drop another drop, I'm okay with that. Do I think that'll happen? No, I think there'll probably be many more, but they're going to be less and less frequent. They're not going to be needed. There's a reason it was called the Great Awakening. It was to awaken everybody to this, not to hold on to this figment of their imagination of Q, which I'm all for the Q shirts. I'm all for all of it. I would have worn one. Had I just decided to buy one, I would have worn it. No problem. I'd wear one today. No problem. But I don't think that's where the future is of our world. I think that was a rallying point. It was a battle cry. It was the shot heard around the world was Q. And it really was the shot heard around the world. This world is coming together. The deep state is really falling apart in front of our eyes. If you follow it every day, you see it. You see it every day. You see it. They become louder and louder on the left. They project their fear onto the remaining people that will listen to them. They project that onto them, but they're scared. They are on a runaway train. And the Trump train is coming right at them. The truth. It's going to be the greatest story that's ever been manufactured or happened in real life, whatever. It's going to be the greatest thing that people will ever read. It will validate, not make. It will validate the art of war. It will validate the art of the deal. It will validate so many things. But mostly it will validate that there's something going on that is a good over evil happening in all this also. And I think this validates it. the level of corruption, as deep as it went, all of its tentacles around the world, as deep as they are, at this point, it's really, truly, as Q has stated, mathematically and statistically impossible for this to be anything but what it is. And I think that's a real easy concept to wrap your head around and to embrace is truth. For people in a country that have been lied to as long as we have, and to have it so exposed in front of us as it has been exposed in front of each and every one of us. This great awakening is welcomed. You know, we've been waiting for it. And it's been awesome to be able to believe in something where we didn't just give it the seal of approval and say, okay, this is what it is. No, everybody analyzed it, but it went according to the plan. As the drops came, the drops didn't come in such a way that we could go, this isn't true, this isn't true. Not as the masses, as the people that were hired to be the battle cry of, you know, protecting their Luciferian agendas and protecting all of that. I mean, this information came out. It was only after multiple Q drops over time started to show that the future proved the past. In other words, the things, and that's some of the arguments, maybe not arguments, but discussions I've gotten in with people is that the reason that Q is a validated source that is non-negotiable is that the future events that have happened from a time that Q posted that something would happen indeed came true and therefore proved the past prediction. That didn't happen once or twice or three times. That's happened so many times since Q dropped their first drop. It's happened so many times that it is now mathematically and statistically impossible for it not to be true. That's a whole lot of truth as it leaks out from me to you, from you, and you might have known this, from you to whoever you talk to. These are things that they put on pedestals, mathematics. They hold these things. Proof. This is the kind of proof they don't want, but it exists. And what's going down before our eyes isn't a matter of whether they want to accept it or not. Very, very soon, very shortly, this red jagged pill is going to be force fed down every person's throat in the world, but especially Americans, because they're the most asleep. At least the asleep are the most asleep, which is pretty much everybody on the left that's drank the Democrat Kool-Aid over the years. But so whether they like it or not, they're going to get force-fed this truth pill. And it's nice being a good guy and a good person and a good woman your whole life. That's important. But there is a part in our history where, you know, without confrontation, you're going to be able to have these discussions and start setting people straight. I mean, the momentum, everything is on your side. It's on our side right now. And they are going to try to paint anybody that follows Q and all that is crazy delusional. They're already starting to do it. They're already starting to find people that are, and just to make them puppets of the narrative. They're already finding them and they're starting to put it out there because they can't stop what's coming. They cannot stop the avalanche of information that has been building up during this whole charade that we've been witnessing. We've been going through together. We've been going through it all together. They got nothing. They can't stop it. So they'll try, and desperate times cause for, desperate measures. The deep state is at desperate measure time. So that means that you should continue to stay awake and be awake. We need to continue our support for our president, which I know we do, because the alternative that's been exposed is just almost impossible to really understand, to the totality of how deep this evil runs. It's hard to listen. There's a lot of people that are just getting this for the first time, that are going to be getting this, and all of it, everything that won't be made public. It won't be, but enough of it will be that these people are going to be like punch drunk. It's going to be like 9/11. When that happened, everybody walked around in a daze for days, at least 3 days. People were just zombified by what was going on in front of them. And that does desensitize you, because we've been there, we've done that, we all processed it, we put it into us, we processed it, and away it went. But this, a total collapse of your government, or at least from your viewpoint. Imagine this. Imagine you're a Democrat, and imagine that really this is all coming to a head, where this is going to be like Hillary's election all over again. They thought going into the whole thing they were going to get it. And on election night, they didn't get it, and it just overwhelmed them. It's going to be the same thing. They're moving forward with these agendas against Trump. They're going after him. And it's going to just cascade again. It's going to be, but it's all designed. It's the whole plan is to have it go down like this, because it's all about exposing, using the mainstream television, because what will have been their nemesis will be their ally in the mainstream television. There will come a time where these television stations will at least have to report fairly, as opposed to 95% bad coverage. There will come a time in the future. But I don't know how far in the future that is. A lot of it feels like it's coming soon. So imagine you're a Democrat, and that all comes wafting down because you're completely asleep, and you find out that you are wrong. You are going to go through all of the phases of grief, or of loss. How does that go? Well, you know what I'm saying. You're going to go through all those emotions, though. Especially if you are so asleep that you believe everything that comes out of CNN, MSNBC. If you're a Maddow fan, Cuomo fan, Don Lemon, if you're any of their fans and you're just straight left wing, man, when the bow breaks, the cradle will fall, and it will fall hard. It's going to fall hard on those people, but you really almost at this point got to say it's really ignorance for whatever happens to them in the future because of this. It will be because of sheer ignorance. The information, the truth, it's all out there. It's all out there. If you just choose to not engage, and whatever, blah, blah, blah. I'll just take my programming from television. You're willfully ignorant. And you know what? You deserve no respect in any capacity at all. You're really a blight on humanity. If you're that kind of talking, working stiff head where you just bury your head so far in the sand that you can't take the greatest informational age of our time that's ever happened in the world, the greatest transfer of information that's available to vet out conspiracies or conspiracy theories and to lead you into the direction of what's true and everything, for you to not, whether you want to believe it or not or research it, I guess that's up to you, but for you to deny people and chalk it up to conspiracy while using the television set to be your rebuttal, I'm sorry, sir or ma'am, you are a retard. 100%. And forgive me for not wanting to argue with your brainwashed ways. You're brainwashed. You have not broke out of the matrix. Their time's coming whether they want it or not. So there's no reason for you to not be vocal, because history and time is on your side. It's on all of our sides. I'm not saying I'm telling you to talk to people like you want to get the truth out. You're not trying to start anything. You're not trying to hurt anybody. It's like, geez, here is the truth. Literally have not read any of the chat, because not only would I stop going on a rant, whatever that was I went on, but I can't see it without putting on my glasses. And damn, it's frustrating, because as I said, I could take one contact lens out and read every bit of that. This is exhausting. So, tip of the cap to the D-Day 75-year anniversary. I should have said this earlier, but I didn't. So, tip of the cap for the 75-year D-Day for the beaches in Normandy. You know, heartfelt salute, honestly, to what must have been, I don't know, the longest minutes of their life, coming off those U-boats onto those beaches with machine guns firing on. Holy shit. Yeah. So huge, mad respect, huge respect. So we talked a little bit about President Trump kind of filling in the void for the lack of Q. I think it's kind of been well established that President Trump is Q plus. So it really feels part of the plan that was to let him pick the ball up and keep running. And we get more of him and we get a little less Q, and we get more of him and a little less Q. Like I said, I don't think we've heard the end of Q, but this, this doesn't end, I don't think, as masterful as this plan is. This doesn't end with like people being devastated that they'll never get to meet this inanimate object, which is really a collective group of brilliant, patriotic minds, that they'll never get that autograph. They'll never get that picture. They'll never get that validation. But you know what? The smart ones will. Everybody that's got any amount of kind of intellectual intelligence that can, it, when you're standing in the face of truth. This has all proven itself, right? We are here. Victory is at our footsteps. or our doorsteps. But it's here. How long is it going to take to get there? I don't know. But it's happening, guys. We can't rely on the mainstream television. You have to continue listening to alternative pieces of information. But you have to see all of the deep state's roadblocks were dissolved. Nothing that they can do can stand in the way of the information that's coming out with the release of the FISA court documents, along with the Huber investigation and the Horowitz investigation and the investigation against Comey. It's a question of who's going to be arrested first. Is it going to be James Comey or is it going to be John Brennan? My money is on Brennan. Brennan, I think, goes number one. But following up at 1A is Comey. That's my opinion. I think those are the first two major arrests that we're going to see. It's going to come out with the release of the FISA. And we've been told this also as arduent Q followers, is that FISA brings down the House. I think that's a reference to the House of Representatives. It brings down or it's beyond that. It's not just the House of Representatives, it's the House. Like it brings everything down, the entire house of cards. But either way, FISA brings down the House. We will have to see to what degree that ultimately tells us. But make no mistake, we have been told that FISA brings down the House. House of Rothschild, House of Representatives, maybe House of Cards on the whole thing. That would actually make the most sense because it will effectively be the glue that pulls all of these people into what's been going on, right? Isn't that what we absolutely know? And while we have these side investigations going on, while the whole Mueller investigation went on, which showed, sorry, I got to do it, no collusion with Russia, no collusion with China, no collusion, folks. All right, I had to do that. So no collusion. But these other investigations are going to not only show there was no collusion and no obstruction, but they're going to, because Trump said that everything would go in front of the Attorney General to be disclosed under his guidance. But I feel it's going to exonerate everybody, and it's going to just, as everybody awakens and continues, it's going to just shift, and it's already shifting. Shift. It's shifting the whole scope over to the Democrat Party. And they don't need everybody that listens and watches CNN to see this. But this is going to wrap up loose ends for anybody that's on the fence about what's going on. It's going to, because there are a ton of Democrats that have walked away from the Democrat Party to Donald Trump, and many more that have now, they're committed. They're going to vote for him. Look at the black vote. Look at Candace Owens. I mean, the Democrats can't win the black vote, nor should they. They offer them nothing. They have a history of pissing all in their Cheerios. Bad part of politics behind black people is the Democrat Party. They got nothing. They're done. All right. 30 minutes. I feel like I've been on this microphone for 6 hours. Perhaps I had to get a little something off my chest. I don't know. But I'm glad you guys all showed up. I'll go back and read the comments. Great of you to be here. Appreciate it like crazy. I'll come back on soon. All right. Don't forget to pray, right? Very important. Have a good night. Love you guys. See ya.